from Western North Carolina's news leader. This is News 13 at 11.
Protecting people from mass violence, the new bill on the table that would supply more resources to law enforcement.
A medical breakthrough, the new drug that could change the lives of cystic fibrosis patients across the country.
And sitting empty. Tonight, News 13 investigates the waste of vacant government buildings, racking up a hefty price tag.
But first, we're tracking some wet weather in the mountains.
And Chief Meteorologist Jason Boyer joining us right now in the Weather Center. And Jason, the rain is going to move in tomorrow?
Yeah, it looks like some showers will move in. By no means is tomorrow nor the next day going to be a washout, so don't cancel anything outdoors. But we'll have to dodge some scattered showers. Right now, we're just dealing with clouds. These have been streaming in for the last several hours, and that's the first thing you'll notice into tomorrow morning, the cloud cover. But then, eventually, rain chances will start, and you'll see most of this rain is going to be west of I-26. So there's morning, there's early afternoon, there's late afternoon into the evening. And you can see there is green represented on the Futurecast, indicating some showers will develop mostly west of I-26. So Asheville may miss out on most of the rain tomorrow, a lot of it falling in our western zones. So the next 24 hours, 40s in the morning. It'll be chilly, but we're not going to be as cold as we were this morning because of the clouds. Slim chance of rain in the afternoon. It's evening and overnight. The chances of rain go up to about 40%. So stick around. We'll talk more about your weekend and how you can plan around that rain as well.
Developing tonight, reversing the growing number of mass shootings, 21 in the United States in 2019 alone. Now, a new initiative in Washington to help law enforcement agencies intervene before it's too late.
North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis is co-sponsoring a bill that would increase funding for mental health and law enforcement agencies across the country. News 13's Taylor Young is live at the Henderson County Sheriff's Office. Taylor, what did deputies have to say about this new initiative?
Well, Darcel, the Sheriff's Office is applauding the senator for recognizing that more help is needed to prevent people from dying. The bill, called the Response Act, does a variety of things, like expanding resources for mental health treatment and training for law enforcement agencies and schools, boosting school safety by increasing access to active shooter training. It also encourages the death penalty for people who commit mass murders.
You commit mass violence, and there's going to be more immediate penalties. Hopefully that's really a deterrent. That's what we're looking for. That's what I believe the senators are looking for in this bill.
The bill would also give new tools to law enforcement agencies, like encouraging internet service providers to work with them to prevent mass shootings. Sheriff Lowell Griffin says in the age of social media, a lot of resources are used getting information about potentially dangerous threats. He says any assistance provided by Washington could help prevent a mass shooting in the works and therefore saving lives. For now, live in Hendersonville, Taylor Young, News 13.
A new scholarship is keeping the memory alive of a UNC Charlotte shooting victim. Reed Parlier was studying computer science. To honor him, there is now a full ride scholarship for students pursuing that same goal. Parlier was one of 2 students who died that day. Waynesville native Riley Howell also died. A scholarship has also been set up in his name.
More than a dozen people in Buncombe County are behind bars tonight in a multi-county drug roundup. Many face charges for trafficking cocaine and being involved in a large-scale drug operation. Authorities confirm the State Bureau of Investigation is the lead agency.
Tonight in the impeachment inquiry, a live look from Capitol Hill, where Democrats announced today they will hold public hearings. The witnesses in the inquiry will testify in mid-November. This comes after House Republicans stormed a closed-door deposition, President Trump thanking them in a tweet, calling them tough, smart, and understanding in details. Tonight, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham introduced a resolution condemning the inquiry. It calls for a vote to initiate the inquiry so more lawmakers can participate. And happening tomorrow, President Trump will be in the Palmetto State. He will give the keynote address at the Second Step President Justice Forum at a college in Columbia. News 13 will be at the event for his speech. Then Saturday, 6 presidential candidates will speak at the same event. Cory Booker will speak at 11, followed by Pete Buttigieg at 1. Then Kamala Harris will speak at 2, Bernie Sanders at 3, Amy Klobuchar at 4, and Joe Biden at 5. Then Sunday, 3 more candidates will take the stage. Elizabeth Warren speaks at noon, followed by Julian Castro at 1 and Tulsi Gabbard at 2.
A spill on future I-26 causes some major backup for commuters this evening. It happened around 4:30 in the westbound lanes near Woodfin around mile marker 25. A truck spilled part of its load onto the highway. We don't know exactly what the truck was hauling. It took crews hours to clean it up, however. Just this week, the FDA has approved a new therapy for people with cystic fibrosis. The genetic disease causes persistent lung infections that over time limit a person's ability to breathe. The new drug isn't a cure, but as News 13's Caitlin Penter reports, one Marion woman says it's a huge step in the right direction.
Decorating this year for Halloween.
Make sure you spread them out, okay?
For Holly Justice and her daughter Callie is a little more special.
She'd just sit in bed and I would just like cuddle with her and braid her hair.
Yeah.
1 year ago, Holly was recovering from a double lung transplant.
My lungs were so scarred up, I only had 26% lung function.
She's had cystic fibrosis since she was born. Her brother Morris has too.
I don't know how many surgeries he's had, but I've had at least, let's see here, 12 sinus surgeries total.
It's been years of treatments, drugs, and weeks spent at the hospital.
Breathing, obviously, that's the big thing with CF. You can't, through the years, when you get lung infections, what happens is those spots that had the infections become scarred up over time. And that's what led to my transplant.
Which is why the CF community is celebrating the latest FDA-approved drug, Trikafta. The drug could slow the progression of the disease and lessen some of the symptoms for 90% of patients with CF.
Before I had transplant, I could have used it. And my brother, since he's not had a transplant, he still has his original lungs. He hopefully will benefit from it.
Holly says it could be especially beneficial for people who weren't as lucky as she was.
I've had friends die waiting on the transplant list.
Because she says everyone deserves to live like this.
Good job.
You couldn't raise me like a regular mom used to.
Yeah, but now I get to.
Yep.
Caitlin Penter, News 13.
And Holly continues to have medical expenses as she recovers from her transplant. For a link to help her, you can go to our website, WLOS.com.
Government buildings across the country empty tonight. Coming up, how many we found in the mountains that are vacant and how much money it's costing.
To help Devin out, a soccer brother in need.
But first, helping an opponent going through a hard time. Next, why a local soccer coach says it was so important for his team to rally behind another player in need. New tonight, senior nights are starting to pop up at high school games across the mountains, and they're celebrations of what has been. But at one high school, an ongoing coach makes one last assist.
News 13 sports reporter Chris Womack joins us now. And Chris, he's helping a player going forward.
Yeah, it was a bittersweet night at Irwin as they said goodbye to their seniors and their head coach, Tate McQueen. But he took a chance to impact one more life, one from their opponent.
Hang on to those balloons, please.
This celebration has some restraint for the Irwin Warriors.
Louder.
Tonight is the last time the seniors will walk onto their field.
Wow, this stinks.
It's also the last game Tate McQueen will lead from the sidelines.
Something to be said for finality.
It's the end of a 13-year head coaching career where there's been the joy of winning, the agony of defeat.
I don't really remember a lot of wins. I remember a few painful losses, but I sure remember the looks on people's faces when our kids have helped when they could help.
And he's doing it one last time, this time for their opponent, Owen.
Be grateful for the adversity because that will truly reveal who you are.
I'm excited.
Former Owen Warhorse Devin Gildner thinks he's here for a ceremonial coin toss.
Number 20, Gabe McGee.
This will be the first time his Owen family has seen him walk since he suffered surface paralysis, a very rare disease. But what he doesn't know.
This is the money that our school and team raised to help Devin out, a soccer brother in need.
Is that instead of flipping a coin, he's gonna get a lot of them.
Over the course of the season,
More than $4,000 for his recovery costs, all
we're able to
from the other team.
$500.
You have teammates,
when
man,
Owen hosted Owen
that
on
wear
match
different
day
colors.
3.
Coach Tate McQueen's last present after a career of giving the gift of guidance.
1, 2, 3.
I knew of Tate because I played against him, but I never thought he would be, part of my story. And
Over his 13 years, McQueen has coached at Irwin, Owen, and East Henderson. His Warriors defeated the Warhorses tonight 3-2 to send him out on a high note.
Wonderful thing to do.
Yeah, great night for him.
Well, it's feeling like fall, but it's not quite looking like it yet.
Yeah, Jason, how are those fall colors coming along?
Well, the fall colors are certainly changing faster now in the higher elevations, which is great news because your fall leaf forecast, if you're headed to those higher elevations, you will encounter more color there this weekend, and it's very much at the peak in some of the highest elevations, so heads up. And it's not going to be the greatest weather to see those colors this weekend. Valleys, you're seeing spotty color at this time, and foothills upstate still waiting on the color change. Stick around. We'll show you more changes for your forecast.
It's a shame to let that all go to waste like that. But that's the government for you.
Government buildings sitting empty. Next, why thousands of buildings across the country are left vacant and how it's costing you money.
Take News 13 wherever you go with our News 13 app. Just search for WLOS in your app store and download it for free.
A 5-year-old hailed as a hero tonight after saving her grandmother from her burning home. Little Taylor was outside playing earlier this month when she saw smoke rising from her grandmother's laundry room. Taylor ran inside to alert her grandma, and they both got out safely. Taylor's mom and grandma both credit the fire safety books that they've read to her over the years.
Everybody should read to their kids. I think that everybody should understand that the kids, they really pick up on a lot more than what they pick up on.
Today, Taylor was recognized with the Commissioner's Award for Heroism from the State Department of Insurance. Her mom says she's never been more proud.
New at 11, the federal government spends tens of billions of dollars maintaining thousands of buildings nationwide. But as Mark Hyman reports, many of those buildings are empty. We found out why.
You might be surprised to learn that no one really knows how many buildings the federal government owns. Not even the feds themselves. Government estimates have ranged from about 120,000 to 400,000. Lori Rictanis from the Government Accountability Office says that's because just about every agency reports the numbers and status of their properties in different ways.
Whenever you have something that purports to be a government-wide database, but you have many, many different people reporting, you're going to probably argue about what is the ultimate number.
A 2004 presidential executive order was the first time federal agencies were required to report their property holdings annually. But even when they do, major details can be wildly inaccurate.
And then you see things like this.
This doesn't surprise Leslie Page from Citizens Against Government Waste. We met with her only a few blocks from the U.S. Capitol. Across the street is a 350,000 square foot, 5-story warehouse they consider an office building. How can they get it so wrong?
Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? How can they get it so wrong? This is more the pattern than the exception.
To make matters worse, after a federal building becomes vacant, it can take years or even decades before something is done with it. This was the case in Knoxville, Iowa. Population, 7,000. The 39 buildings of the century-old VA hospital could have had many uses, but neglect over the past 15 years has taken its toll. World War II veteran Don Green used to work there. Have you seen the campus recently?
It's a shame to let that all go to waste like that. But that's the government for you.
When the feds finally do give up buildings, communities like this one in Iowa may be saddled with exorbitant cleanup costs, as local radio executive Bob Leonard told us.
The federal government, as far as I understand it, is going to walk away. And what does it cost to remove these buildings? The last estimate that I saw was $11 million.
At the same time, thousands of buildings like these are seemingly abandoned across the country. The amount of space leased by federal agencies is on the rise. Leasing or building new offices rather than using existing properties happens too frequently, according to Page.
It's easier to build, more fun to build,
than it is to take over an already existing property that has to be retrofitted.
That's because there's a lot of red tape and steps that must be taken before a vacant building can be repurposed or disposed of. It's much easier to lock the doors and just forget about it.
If we want to get rid of a lot of these properties, we have to incentivize agencies to do it, and we have to hold them accountable to it.
In the meantime, some communities bear the burden of managing buildings that have outlived their usefulness.
My heart fills with sadness because what happened here, none of us that know and have experienced this would want it to happen elsewhere.
For Inside Your World Investigates, I'm Mark Hyman in Knoxville, Iowa.
News 13 investigated to see if any of the abandoned government properties are in our area. The list named 4 locations, all on federal land along or near the Blue Ridge Parkway. We found only one to be abandoned. It's a dilapidated cabin near Soco Falls in Jackson County. A second location just off Highway 74 near Balsam Gap was not abandoned. The Park Service is using those buildings as office space, temporary housing, and a garage for vehicle maintenance. No buildings were found on the 2 remaining locations.
Now, your News 13 Skywatch weather.
Let's get you out the door in the morning with your Tyson Furniture bus stop forecast. Tomorrow, temperatures in the 40s to begin the day. A lot of cloud cover, 57 by lunchtime, 60s into the afternoon. Now, we will start to see some scattered showers develop. I can guarantee you it's going to be a cooler day, but I cannot guarantee that you're going to experience rain. And here's why. Scattered showers already showing up on radar down here along the Gulf Coast. This is some tropical moisture that will get drawn north. And believe it or not, we might have another tropical depression forming in the next couple of days. If it's named, it will become Olga. It has a 70% chance, that area of low pressure that's marked by the X, that's an area to watch in the Gulf of Mexico. Almost exactly same location that Nestor formed. Now, Nestor brought a lot of rain because it took more of a northeasterly track. This is going to take more of a northerly track, and that's going to keep a lot of that rain west of the mountains. Not all of it, but most of it. And you'll see that play out here on the Futurecast. Heavy showers begin to move into Tennessee tomorrow afternoon and evening, and that low moves north rather than east initially, so that's going to keep a lot of that rain west. But then a cold front will drag it eastward, and that puts us with more rain, I think, the second half of the weekend. Then we wait on the next big system. That's coming midweek, and this will affect your Halloween forecast as cold Canadian air spills southward, snow in the Midwest, and rain is more likely to fall into the Carolinas Wednesday and Thursday, so that might impact those trick-or-treaters. 63 on Saturday. That's the cooler day of the weekend, also the drier day of the weekend. Believe it or not, Sunday is actually going to be the warmest day of the weekend with more rain in the equation. But all in all, not a washout this weekend, so don't cancel outdoor plans. 40s and 50s for lows tonight. 60s tomorrow, many locations, even in the foothills and upstate. Not much in the way of 70s. Not until Sunday. Notice the rain chances go incrementally upward here. 40% tomorrow, 50% Saturday, 60% Sunday. Then coming down more significantly into early next week as we cool down gradually and more dramatically by Halloween. I think Halloween, we may start in the 60s but fall into the 30s overnight. We'll be back.
College basketball season is just around the corner, and nowhere are they more excited than UNC Asheville. The Bulldogs women's team will try for their 3rd trip to the NCAA tournament under Brenda Kirkpatrick Brown, and the fans got to meet the team during Tuesday's Bulldog Madness. UNCA loses a big-time scorer in Jessica Wall, but they return Sonora Danook, who could challenge for the Conference Player of the Year honor. However, she's not the only one to be excited about, as fans could see at Kimmel Arena.
Yeah, when you look at our team, just look at them, they look athletic, they look fast, and I think that's how we'll play for the most part. We're not as deep at the 5 position this year, and so we're really going to be relying on our guard play to carry us in most situations.
The women open up their season Wednesday, November 13th, when they host Lenore Ryan. Well, some quick high school volleyball news. The NCHSAA revealed its state playoff seedings this afternoon, and Western North Carolina is well represented. In 1A, the Robbinsville Black Knights are the top overall seed in the West bracket. 2A, Brevard is the 2 seed. And in 3A, 8 of the 9 teams in the WMAC make the playoffs, led by conference champions West Henderson with the 2 seed. So it's about to get really busy in the sports office.
Really?
Oh, yeah, we know that. Well, busy in the weather office here, dealing with all this cold and rain.
Well, here's the thing. You'll see rain chances every day the next 7 days, but do not look at that and say, oh my goodness, it's going to rain every day. No, somewhere it will, but not everywhere. Scattered showers Friday, Saturday, better chance on Sunday. Most of that's early in the day. We'll warm up.
All right.
Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always check us out on WLOS.com.
And be sure to find us on Facebook and Twitter. Jimmy Kimmel Live is coming up next right here at ABC 13.